This video is sponsored by popularhightech.com's Lifeguard Pro. What if the secret to mastering life itself was hidden in a single kick? From ancient philosophy to modern-day mastery, Taekwondo has become a global phenomenon. Shaped from centuries of ancient wars and cultural evolution, Taekwondo is more than a piece of artwork. But where did it all begin? How did this ancient art survive centuries of war and change? What makes Taekwondo more than just a sport, but a way of life? And why do millions of people around the world look to it for strength, discipline, and peace? From the documentary XXL team, we bring you a well-documented account of the history of Taekwondo. Born from the shadows of ancient Korea and transformed by the arts of strength, discipline, spirituality, and honor, drop a suggestion on whatever topic you'd like us to cover next, but remember, this is Taekwondo. Chapter 1. The Origin Story. While the Taekwondo that we know today started in 1945, its origins are rooted as far back as ancient Korea, between 57 BC and 668 AD. A time when Korea was made up of three kingdoms: Goguryeo in the northern peninsula, Baekje, and Silla in the southern peninsula. These three kingdoms collectively formed a joint system of unarmed combat known as Subak. Its teachings and techniques were also influenced by the terrain and environment of these three kingdoms. Legend even has it that kings themselves practiced these ancient arts, embodying the Taekwondo principles of balance, precision, and strength. Subak continued to thrive as a form of military technique until the fall of the three kingdoms. The era of the Three Kingdoms ended in a chain of conflict, betrayal, and internal corruption. Baekje was the first to fall, torn apart by years of civil wars, and a sudden alliance between Silla and the Tang dynasty of China delivered the final blow. Goguryeo, who were the most powerful militarily, met a similar fate as the Silla Tang forces turned northward, overwhelming even its mighty defenses. Silla emerged victorious, uniting the Korean peninsula. Briefly, internal corruption from its court leaders and rebellions quickly weakened its power, leaving the kingdom unable to hold its dominance. You could also say that their heavy reliance on Tang China also weakened their military powers and left no room for any economic or military growth. Out of its ashes, the Goryeo dynasty rose in 918 AD. Goryeo was able to achieve what has been called a true national unification by Korean historians, as it not only unified the later three kingdoms, but also incorporated much of the ruling class of the northern kingdom of Balhae, who had origins in Goguryeo, of the earlier three kingdoms of Korea. Also, like the three kingdoms, Goryeo made use of the Subak martial arts. In spite of this, Goryeo also faced similar internal corruption, factionalism among the aristocracy, and weak leadership had threatened its stability. The last straw was the Yi rebellion. Yi Seong-gai, a Goryeo general, gained prominence through his military successes, particularly against the Mongols and Japanese. In 1388, he was ordered to lead an invasion of Ming China, but instead turned his army back toward Goryeo, seizing control in what became known as the Wihwa Island Rebellion. He seized power, forcing the last Goryeo king to abdicate in 1392. Yi Seong-gye declared himself King Taejo and established the Joseon dynasty, naming Hanyang, modern-day Seoul, as the capital. The Joseon dynasty, unlike its predecessors, implemented the use of Confucian principles, a deliberate departure from Buddhism. This change solidified the dynasty's rule and established a legacy that would last over 500 years. The Joseon dynasty also brought with it a new art form, Taekyon. Similar to Subak in many ways, Taekyon emphasized techniques like tripping and throwing your opponents off balance, an art that still lives on till this day. Because of these similarities, there have been many historical debates on if Taekyon was just a rebranding of Subak, but with a different name. There was also the likes of Gungdo, but unlike its two counterparts, it involved the use of armed weaponry, specifically archery. These military techniques are said to be the very foundation on which Taekwondo was built. But how did these ancient techniques evolve into the fast-paced, high-flying Taekwondo we see today? What role did Korea's history play in shaping the art that would one day captivate the world? Let's dive deeper. It wasn't until about 2,000 years later that the Korean martial arts sect saw the need to be unified under one banner. This idea sprung up shortly after the end of World War II and the Japanese rule over Korea. With the drastic devastation of World War II, Korea sought a way to revitalize their culture and military. But at the time, most of the Korean martial arts were identical to Japanese arts, and most martial arts schools were still using the name karate, called Kongsodo or Tangsudo in Korean, along with Japanese terminologies to describe patterns and training methods. In a quest to disassociate from anything that had to do with Japanese heritage, the Korean martial arts was about to go through a lot of transformation. Chapter 2. The Kwans. During this period of rebranding, new martial arts schools called Kwans established by Korean martial artists with backgrounds in Japanese and Chinese martial arts began to open in Seoul, Korea. Of all the martial arts schools, there were 9 that rose to prominence. The Cheongdo Kwan, Muduk Kwan, Sumu Kwan, Jido Kwan, and Changmu Kwan were the first to form on the South Korean peninsula post-occupation. Then the Hanmu Kwan, Odo Kwan, Jungdo Kwan, and Kangduk Kwan formed after the Korean War between 1950 to 1953. These 9 schools are often referred to in Taekwondo as the original Kwans. But over time, just like almost every single organization, rivalries developed between the Kwans for the sole control of the Korean martial arts. This prevented the formation of a central regulating body for many years. The art of Taekwondo didn't really become an idea until 1955, when it was proposed by the man Choi Hong-hee in a meeting to finally unify the Korean art school. The idea didn't really take root with the others in attendance, and so it was rejected. However, this didn't discourage Choi. Instead, he began using the name for himself, teaching it to civilians and soldiers alike, helping the name to grow in popularity. Choi himself was a legend and had deep roots in the Korean martial arts and military world. A black belt in karate and a lieutenant in the South Korean Army. Choi also taught martial arts to both Koreans and Americans at Daejeon way back in the late 1940s, until he was eventually appointed as the martial arts instructor of the American Military Police School in Seoul. This paved the way for his quick rise through the ranks. Later, in 1953, he was named the honorary head of the Cheongdo Kwan, and in the same year, Choi formed the Odo Kwan, the Korean Army's physical training program. Throughout this time, he began to create patterns unique to the Odo Kwan and began teaching them to his students. So it was a surprise when Choi pushed for the adoption of a series of fighting techniques he had formed, Taekwondo. Fast-tracked to 1959, the name Taekwondo was finally chosen to unify the Korean martial arts. But this was after immense pressure from the Korean government, pushing for Kwans to complete the unification. However, this happened in the most unexpected ways. Back in 1952, South Korean President Syngman Rhee watched a martial arts demonstration by army officers Choi Hong-hee and Nam Tae-hee. Mistaking their techniques for Taekyon, which is a traditional Korean martial art characterized by fluid, dance-like movements, focusing on kicks, trips, and off-balancing techniques, he saw the potential and urged that martial arts be unified under a single system for the army. This moment sparked a crucial turning point in the development of Taekwondo. Under one banner, the Korea Taekwondo Association, also known as KTA, was established. But adopting the name did not necessarily mean that the association had come to an understanding. Choi, the proud champion of his own Chanhon style, demanded that all the other Kwans of the Korea Taekwondo Association, KTA, adopt his approach as the one true style for the entire nation. However, his vision was met with strong resistance. The other Kwans, refusing to accept one style as the sole representation of Taekwondo, pushed for a system that would incorporate elements from all the Kwans, preserving the heritage and unique characteristics of each. Furthermore, the second generation of instructors, these are the ones who had received their training exclusively in Korea, under first-generation Japanese-trained instructors, tried solving the problem by creating a method of competition that used an original system of techniques different from the Japanese system. Their idea was a success and struck the younger generation of Taekwondo practitioners because this system added the use of a body protector, allowed hard contact, and removed strikes to the head with the hand. These instructors proposed to unify Taekwondo styles under this new competition format. However, this new style didn't meet the standard of the Choi Han style, and so was met with profound opposition from Choi, as well as other first-generation instructors like Hwang Ki, leader of the Muduk Kwan, one of the original Korean martial arts schools. In response to this, along with political disagreements about teaching Taekwondo in North Korea and unifying the whole Korean peninsula, Choi left the KTA in 1966 with the plan of establishing the International Taekwondo Federation, ITF, a separate governing body devoted to institutionalizing his Chanhon style of Taekwondo in Canada. Initially, Choi's ITF received support from the South Korean government due to their relationship, although very little. But later, in 1972, the South Korean government withdrew its support for Choi's style of Taekwondo due to its North Korean ties, and the KTA was able to move forward with implementing the new competition format. Eventually, the new style was adopted by all Taekwondo Kwans. But this wasn't going to dissuade Choi in the least. The ITF continued independently, with Choi further developing his style, including the 1983 publication of his Encyclopedia of Taekwondo. After Choi's retirement, the ITF split into 3 federations in 2001 and 2002, which remain active today. Meanwhile, way back in 1972, the South Korean government and the KTA jointly established the Kukiwon as the new National Academy for Taekwondo. This organization focused on defining a unified government-sponsored style known as Kuki Taekwondo. And in 1973, the KTA and Kukiwon also supported the creation of another Taekwondo federation called the World Taekwondo Federation, also known as WTF, which later became World Taekwondo, WT, in 2017, due to the previous initials' direct connotation with an internet slang. While Kukiwon emphasized the martial and self-defense aspects of Taekwondo, WT promoted the sport, particularly in Olympic competitions. At this point, it seems the once united martial arts, while rapidly progressing, was more divided than it had ever been, with each side focusing on their own goals. Drawing the question, could this rivalry tear Taekwondo apart, or was it the key to its global domination? Chapter 3. Taekwondo. While it seems that Choi was working with a mind of his own, his operations were still linked to the glory of Taekwondo. This was a man with the vision to transform the world of martial arts, and all he needed were people that listened to his every word. The art of Taekwondo is known for its emphasis on head-height kicks, jumping and spinning kicks, and fast-kicking techniques. In fact, it literally translates to the way of the feet and hands. Its typical curriculum includes the ability to maintain your form, sparring, breaking of boards, self-defense technique, meditation, and so many other techniques. Perhaps the most fascinating thing about Taekwondo is the room it leaves for its instructors to be able to transform the styles, to better fit the trainee, and to even come up with techniques of their own. Taekwondo is also said to have the ability to generally transform a person in both a physical and spiritual sense. Now imagine extending that same adaptability to how you protect your space, whether it's your training hall, home, or anywhere else. This is where Lifeguard Pro comes in. A groundbreaking tool that combines the function of a security camera and a light bulb in one sleek, easy-to-install design. So, just like Taekwondo transforms its practitioners, Lifeguard Pro can transform your approach to security and help you easily view what's going on in your room, your office, your warehouse, your spouses, or girlfriends, or boyfriends, or kids. It has features that let you live stream via their app, 24/7 instant environment monitoring, and the ability to record directly onto a micro SD card. It's the ultimate tool for keeping an eye on your surroundings. Whether you're monitoring your training area, protecting your home, or even keeping tabs on kids, pets, partners, or loved ones, Lifeguard Pro is your trusted partner. And thanks to its universal E27 bulb socket, it's as easy to install as screwing in a light bulb. Here's the best part. Lifeguard Pro is now available at an incredible 50% discount per unit, just by using the link below in this video's description box. Also, it will be delivered worldwide for free. Don't miss this opportunity to secure your environment while saving big. Click the link below in this video's description box to grab yours today while stocks last. There are also a number of major Taekwondo styles, as well as a few minor styles. These styles are vastly differentiated by the pattern of practice, the difference in sparring rule, and its martial arts philosophy. There's the traditional Taekwondo, which refers to the 1940s and 1950s. Martial arts by the 9 original Kwans. Although they used a number of different names such as Tang Soo Do, Chinese handwei, Kong Soo Do, empty handwei, and Tai Soo Do, foot handwei. Traditional Taekwondo is still practiced today, but generally under names like Tang Soo Do and Soo Bak Do. Then there's the Choi Han style, which is sometimes mistaken as the traditional Taekwondo. The Songgam-style Taekwondo was introduced in 1969 by Heng-eung Lee, a former Taekwondo instructor in South Korea. Known by its emphasis on posture, positioning, and technique, as well as its sparring rules for competition, the Songgam-style Taekwondo is a unique style that has evolved over time, with some schools adopting specific elements from the Songgam style. Then there's the Kuki style, which was popularized by the KTA and WT. These and so many other styles of Taekwondo not mentioned are all testaments to how creative the minds of these Taekwondo practitioners are. The ability to transform a single originating style into so many different techniques, but still upholding the same principle: strength, discipline, and honor. Taekwondo ranks vary across different styles, with junior ranks indicated by a number and belt color, and senior ranks, or black belt ranks, referred to as a dan or a degree. Junior ranks typically count down from higher numbers to lower, while dan ranks increase with advancement. Students must pass tests to advance, and promotions depend on the school. In the International Taekwondo Federation, ranks come with titles. First to third dans are called Buzabum, which translates to assistant instructor. Fourth to sixth dans are called Sabum, which translates to instructor. Seventh to eighth dan are called Sahyun, which translates to master, and ninth dan is Saseong, the Grandmaster. In World Taekwondo, WT, formerly known as the WTF organization, and also referred to as Kuki Taekwondo, first to third dan instructors are considered assistant instructors, Kyosa Nim, and are not allowed to issue ranks. Those holding fourth to sixth dan are master instructors, Sabum Nim, and can grade students below their own rank. Grandmasters hold 7th to 9th dan and require an age of over 40 for their title in Kukiwon. Different Taekwondo styles also adopt various philosophical foundations, many of which trace back to the 5 commandments of the Hwarang. Choi Hong-hee, in particular, expressed Taekwondo's philosophy through the 5 tenets. Courtesy, Yeyi, Li Yi Yae Kai. I shall observe the tenets of Taekwondo. Integrity, Yomchi, Lianchi Yomchi. I shall respect the instructor and seniors. Perseverance, Inai, Rennai Innai. I shall never misuse Taekwondo. Self-control, Gukgi, Keiji Gukgi. I shall be a champion of freedom and justice. Indomitable spirit, Begjol Bulgul, Bai Jebuchubaik Jol Bulgul. I shall build a more peaceful world. Chapter 4. Taekwondo's Peak. Today you can't talk about Korea without mentioning Taekwondo. It's their international sport, a source of national pride and a living testament to their rich cultural heritage. But while its roots are deeply planted in Korea, Taekwondo has effortlessly grown into a universal art form, practiced and celebrated in nearly every corner of the world. And its transformation into a global movement is remarkable. Taekwondo isn't just a sport or self-defense technique. No, it's become way more than that. A form of entertainment that captivates audiences. From jaw-dropping performances at international stages like America's Got Talent to synchronized demonstrations that blend acrobatics and martial artistry, Taekwondo's impact goes far beyond spectacle. It has also become a driving force in Korea's economy, bolstering tourism and cultural exports. If you look at it this way, Each year, thousands of martial artists from around the world visit Korea to train, compete, and connect with the art's origins, making it a significant contributor to Korea's global influence. And for practitioners, Taekwondo is transformative. Physically, it hones strength, agility, and endurance, and as a bonus, huge peaks and tone muscles you're assured to get. Spiritually, it instills discipline, respect, and perseverance. Whether it's a young student learning their first kick or a seasoned black belt demonstrating mastery, Taekwondo changes lives. And remember, when it comes to Taekwondo, every kick tells a story. Every movement reveals a purpose, and every practitioner carries a legacy. So, would you be joining Taekwondo? Let us know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video and want more videos like this, don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms, subscribe, like, share, and turn on post notifications. Before you leave the video, do not forget to purchase your own unit of LiveGuard Pro at a 50% discount using the first link that's at the top of the description box of this video. We'll see you in the next video. Goodbye. The end.